Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. It is now 9 o'clock. Time to get started on this veterans panel about pickleball. Welcome to PickleCon 2024, sponsored by TC at Triple Crown. My name is Gabriel George. I'm the pickleball director for Military Adaptive Court Sports. What we do is we teach multiple court sports to veterans all across the country free of charge. And as I say, I'm the pickleball guy, so I have the most veterans that come to my clinics. We're sponsored by a couple of these people here. We take care of them, but I love doing this because we share this amazing sport that keeps us functioning and moving and off the couch. And my biggest battle is it's merely more mental health than it is physical health too, because the gathering that we get from all these people that comes around with PTSD, because it's not about just the physical injuries. I know I might be missing an arm if you can hear me or not see me, but this is my connection with others. I've seen the looks from the first time they come to a clinic and not knowing what to expect and just being sad, thinking they can't do it, until walking out smiling with a huge smile on their face, got a new purpose in life. So I love what I do. I love what we do. That's all you'll hear from me for right now. I'm going to pass this mic on. Let's hear from who else we have.
Hello, I am Stacy Warner. I'm a professor at East Carolina University in sport management. I have been researching sport and community building for well over a decade and discovered pickleball about a year ago and discovered this amazing event. What I love about pickleball is exactly what Gabe said. It brings people together, it creates that social connection, and I think it's a really important sport for veterans to have access to. So love what everybody's doing up here and just look forward to a good discussion.
Yeah, hello, my name is Luke Wade. I am a serial entrepreneur, and basically I started a softball league for me and my friends 12 years ago, about 10 blocks from here. In the last 12 years, we've had 100,000 people play everything from softball, sand volleyball, kickball, cornhole, pickleball, you name it. We're a social organization. Because I am a serial entrepreneur, I created a software to deal with that. After working with about 40 different facilities, I made a software to manage those facilities, opened my own facilities. I'm also a disabled veteran that went to Iraq at 19 years old. And now I work with the VFW nationwide to essentially help them program and bring in younger veterans to the VFW. So I'm very connected in that. I have a big passion in that. And like he said, I think a lot of the issues right now are more around mental, but physical health is a big boost to mental health. So really excited to talk today.
My name's Jordan Cohen. I work with Protect the Game. What we do at Protect the Game is we have military veterans that we train to become sports officials at no cost to them. We get them equipment, we get them uniforms, we get them trained, we connect them with a local assigner, and then we get them working. So we're giving back to them. We've been at it now about 4 years. We've had 265 people go through our training, and we're just continuing to push and help the veterans out. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. I know that there's a tremendous lack of referees in pickleball, so there's a need for it, so you're also fulfilling a need. Hi everyone, I'm Dan Beeman. I'm a military veteran. I don't talk about my disability, but I did serve in the Army. I was an airborne paratrooper back in the 80s, back in the day, and I'm excited to be on this panel to learn from the other panelists and figure out how we can work together. 5 years ago, I was finishing up my graduate studies at UNLV, getting a master's degree of hotel management, and my advisor said, Dan, stop writing about sustainable tourism. What else can you write about? And so I wrote my final graduate thesis on the implications of pickleball for the hospitality industry. And the conclusions were that any resort that has flat available spaces like basketball or tennis courts or even parking garages or convention centers is not maximizing their asset value or driving revenue or enhancing the guest experience if they don't add pickleball. In summary, if they don't add pickleball, they're stupid. So that's been my mission, is to do resort consulting, to travel the world and help resorts see the value of adding pickleball courts so that they can attract the attractive demographics of pickleball players. So we do group trips to certified resorts, and we want to do military group trips as well. So that's a little bit about me. My business is Superlative Pickleball, and we own the world's largest pickleball travel club and Pickleball Travel magazine. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to learning from you guys.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Lee Norman, and I own a pickleball paddle, but don't consider myself to be an expert in any way, shape, or form. I'm a family practice physician only for the last 45 years, and by the way, I'm the senior medical director for Optum. And Optum is a company that helped to sponsor this event, so we're really pleased to be a sponsor here. But I retired from the Army just 2 years ago, and I went in 50 years ago into the Air Force. I've been in from 1974 until 2022, and I was a Air Force flight surgeon, family medicine doc, flight surgeon, combat medicine instructor. Got out for a few years, went into Desert Storm, got out for a few years, and I enlisted in the Army at age 61. Shipped out to Army Basic at age 62, which wasn't fun. I wouldn't recommend that. And stayed in another 10 years. So, I've practiced medicine for all these years. My last deployment in the Army was in 2017, 2018 for 16 months to the Middle East, where I ran all the healthcare and medevac, helicopters and all that stuff. Came back and got on Governor Kelly's cabinet in the state of Kansas, ran for 3 years as Secretary of Health and Environment, ran the COVID response for the state of Kansas. Otherwise, I've just been asleep at the switch.
Well, thank you so much for that. First of all, thank you all for your service. Thank you so much for being here again. It's hard to top that level of service right there, Unless you sign up for Space Force next, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, God. But as you see, we have a panel here full of veterans and people that's familiar with working with veterans, and it's obviously that's near and dear to our hearts. As I said, I'm a retired Navy corpsman myself. My partner here is Mr. Harper. He's a retired Navy officer type 2, so they didn't work as hard. And when you mentioned that you don't talk about your disabilities, once you said paratrooper, that said everything to me. So how your knees doing? But it's the back. There you go. But one thing I love about pickleball, it's an adaptive sport too. Especially for veterans that come with all the multitude of injuries, illnesses, and wounds. This sport, I haven't seen anything yet that we haven't been able to get on the court. I have a clinic coming up in Lafayette, Louisiana, with all visually impaired and blind veterans. And it's going to be all pickleball, just all pickleball. They have no idea what we're going to do, but I have a couple of different tricks up my sleeve that we're going to bring out and have them see. But you make it fun. You adapt the sport, and you make it enjoyable for everybody. And that's what we do here at Max is we have, like I said, we've served over 1,500 veterans this year alone, and we're still trying to keep it going because it's hard to say no. Because when you got people coming out and saying they're finding a reason to live again, they're joining, there's a purpose for this. The fact of getting them promoted to do referee and stuff, now you're giving them a job, another skill. So all that stuff is important in the lives of us, especially if you've been serving for so long and you're used to that mindset and you want to keep going. But when you come out to become a civilian again, life tends to hit us hard. Is you find that other purpose that you want to do and how else you can support and keep doing these things. And that's what this is about right here. This is for us coming together. I see there's a lot of work we all can do together and from different avenues of this, from the medical side, the data that you collect from all this information of how this affects therapeutically to the veteran's life is important. How he talked about from the resorts and stuff, not using the spaces. We talk about that all the time. There's people say there's no access, making sure that, what is the access for accessibility for people with whatever types of injuries that you're dealing with. Now I'm loving how this sport is even coming with different balls from sounds because we have certain veterans that have sound impairments it reminds them of a gunshot. So now you have softballs where you can still come out and play. That's another reason I love this sport. Anybody else say anything else? You want to add?
I'll just add to that, the accessibility of the sport is fascinating, right? It's one of the only sports that you can see a grandma or a grandpa playing with their grandson type thing, and the things that Gabe's doing with the adapted sport is just going to open it up even more. And that's how we build community, and that's how we get the social and mental health benefits in sports. So we're off to a great start, and I think totally agree. Pickleball is the way to go.
Yeah, I would just say, when a breaks down to working with veterans. At the end of the day, what we're doing is creating a community where we feel safe to come into that community. Like I said, I do it with the VFW. I help them create a cornhole tournament. Now we created an esports league for them called Combat Tested Gaming. We had over 1,000 members join in about 4 months into the esports league. And again, at the end of the day, it's just veterans who like to play games that want to connect with other veterans. So if you're using pickleball for that, it's the same concept. You just want to create something that veterans feel welcome into and feel safe into. And so that's what I would say to focus on. The number one thing in working with veterans is just creating a safe space for them. It helps to have other veterans involved already to get them in, but really you're just creating a community for veterans to feel safe in.
So I'm really new to pickleball. I really don't know much about it, but really looking forward to getting some officials trained. We've done a lot of our trainings in diamond sports, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball. And we've noticed that just the camaraderie and getting them together and working together, they seem to really enjoy doing that. And they're the right person for it. They know how to dress. The uniforms are always good. The conflict, and as we know, the conflict management that they've been through and dealing with it on a baseball field or a softball field, there's that conflict all the time. So they have a great background to get involved in this, so makes it a little bit easier to get them trained.
I have a question. So obviously there's two types of disabilities, physical and mental, and I think the silent disability is the mental one. And the connection point I see between pickleball and disabilities for the military is that pickleball is inclusive and social, and we have a loneliness pandemic already in our society, but we also have PTSD. I don't know any statistics, but so I'm asking you, obviously there's an opportunity for people that are physically challenged in the military for training and to learning to be engaged in the sport, but for me, understanding the mental aspect, I would think that is the biggest opportunity for the military and the most underserved one. So the connection point between pickleball being a social inclusive sport and veterans that have mental disabilities like PTSD, is that a direction that you're going in, or do you have any success? Can you talk about that?
That's absolutely
And
great
I'm
question.
sorry to steal it from Doctor, but
You're fine. No, that is actually a great question because data is everything. And what we do in our program, we have a 6-week program. For once a week for 6 weeks, the veterans meet up and learn and train in pickleball. But on the first day, we take surveys. We ask information about like 6 different products. How's your sleep? How's your stress levels? How are these different things affect you? Then once you completed the clinic, we ask the same questions again to get a follow-up to see how has that improved, how has that changed, and we monitor it too. And we've been talking to a couple of different people with apps and stuff like that to help us organize that, because that data is what we use for our sponsors and stuff. So we respond to the VA primarily when we're letting them know that this is effective. This is here. It's not medicinal, but it's therapeutic in the same way. Because the PTSD is the physical injuries, like you say, are always there. You can see those in it. But most of our attendees are from someone diagnosed with PTSD or different level, or don't even know that they have it. And they literally sit in the house for 10 years without going out. Then it takes another veteran, invite them around to a safe space where they know it's around other veterans, and now they come out and you see people open up. And then they're smiling, they're talking, they're laughing. And then the biggest part is we like to add the family members to it too. Because it's one thing when you come out and have a great day, and you have this wonderful thing, but then you go home by yourself and they can't explain it. You can't share that moment with nobody else. I've seen it personally, how bringing your kids with you, your wives or family, anybody you have to, that way when you leave, you're talking about it with them. Now you're going to do it together. Now that's increasing your mental health, your physical health. And then you want to come back. And which leads to my question, because one of the things we have is not an issue, but a good problem is it's supposed to be a 6-week clinic. You know, we deal with funding, we have a little bit, we had to, but as soon as we finish, everybody wants to know, when's the next one? What's next? Because I want more. I need more. You can't. Objects that's in motion wants to stay in motion. And it's just like the mind. When your mind is mentally challenged, you're giving them something to do, everybody wants to keep doing it more. And that's the good part. Then how we sustain it? How do we keep it up? Because there's not a lot of organizations that's caring or actively caring and doing things actively to help with people's mental health. They just, honestly speaking, when you leave the military is like, bye, thank you for your service, here's your t-shirt. Yeah, you got the VA, but then the VA is like, okay, you got most people like, oh, I'm not broken up for that, or I don't deserve that, or I don't need that. Then it takes us as this community to go grab our brothers and sisters like, yeah, you do need this. Come on, come show up. And this helps you through this walk. because it's still a journey. As soon as we leave service, we always say, people say, thank you for your service, but we're still serving. Because this is how we're still giving back, making sure we're taking care of us. Did I answer your question?
It deserves. I'm sorry. Definitely did, but that's the area that I see that there's a tremendous opportunity, because the VA should be funding this for the purposes of all the good that it does, because it's pickleball, again, the mental aspect of engaging and getting away from the loneliness and the demons and the drinking or whatever else is going on in the privacy of your own home, but you're out there with other people and you're engaging with them. And then the physical standpoint as well of getting out there and getting moving. So I want to keep exploring that and uncovering it. And maybe this word gets out and we're able to get to the VA and get the funding that's necessary for people to be able to do this sort of stuff. So I didn't mean to steal the...
No, you're good. Yeah, I agree completely with you, with what you're saying, because we see it all the time, wholeheartedly, how the effects of what we're doing affects others. And like our biggest battle now is 22 a day, or it's really more than that. If you don't know what that means, over 22 veterans a day are committing suicide just from the mental health issues and not feeling like they're getting the help that they need from the VA or any other resource. And I see wholeheartedly how when you come up, to us, you connect with other veterans, people you feel like understand you, that understand what you've gone through, and now you want to keep showing up for them. The VA, the VA is a business, a contractor from DOD, and DOD, from my personal experience, what I've seen wholeheartedly, we're not in a conflict right now. There's no war going on, so there's no combat injured veterans coming out. So there's no funding going around to do anything for all that. They've done all they've done for PTSD right now. That's for the last war. It won't be until we hit another war that you'll see money coming around, resources for us to do stuff for the veterans. Right now, everybody's trying to pull back money. But I'm like, how else are we going to keep going? So my next question was, Lisa, what are some of the challenges that you've seen and faced with trying to operate in your business and serving our veterans?
If I may.
Please.
There's a certain advantage of being old, and that is I've lived through 2 generations of military, having gone in 50 years ago, just this year in '74, and exited just 2 years ago. I've seen 2 generations. I went in during Vietnam, and by the way, that was not a great time. Coming back to do. I was a medical student and I was being called a baby killer, and I hadn't even seen a patient yet. It was really tough time. But I think to answer your question, the real challenge is to actually do something for veterans, because we have all these and it's well-placed sentiment. Thank you for your service. And I appreciate the sentiment, and I know there's veterans here in the audience, and yet we need to take it and y'all are taking it to the next step of actually doing something to get what you said, which is isolation, and to get people off their ass to be physically active. I could have been more delicate. I am a retired Army colonel.
Speak.
And,
you got
I can't be any other way than what I am.
You wouldn't expect it. Go ahead. Be yourself. This is a safe space.
And I'm fortunate for having all those years in the military of not having any kind of disabilities other than maybe a little bit in the brain. But I really think what's critical is for us to get beyond thank you for your service. And again, I'm not discounting the importance of that sentiment, but what is it that we can do, whether it's VA funding, whether it's private sector funding, like what my own organization, Optum, is doing, is to support those causes that get people off their rear end and put it into motion.
Good.
I don't know. I just had a brainstorm. I'm a creative guy. That's what I do, is creative stuff. I think we're looking for what are the potential solutions, and one just popped into my head. You need to have a specific tagline with a specific goal to get specific action. And what is the specific thing that Steve Kuhn talked about? 30 by 40, right? 30 million players. Was it 40 by 30? Sorry, I got it backwards. 40 million pickleball players by 2030. His goal was for all population, not for the military. Why don't we do 22 per day for the 22 per day? Get 22 people, new players in pickleball that are disabled veterans or veterans, I don't care, to learn to play pickleball as a goal for us. in opposition of the 22 that are taking their own lives because it's
Definitely.
not
I hear
worth
you.
living anymore. Just throwing it out there as a creative idea.
I hear you, like a little marketing thing. I get you that. I mean, we reach those numbers easily. Because we're in, I forget, nationally speaking, over 30 states already. And I have 30 instructors under me teaching pickleball across this country. And some of them have 50 students coming up every clinic. Like Colorado Springs is horrible. You have 50 people come up every day for 4 courts. That's all we have because we don't have access to other places. And we're paying for this. We pay for the service. But we're thankful for our sponsors like Gearbox and stuff to provide paddles and balls and stuff. But it happens, like you say, everywhere, and more people are calling constantly. Hey, we seen what you're doing. Can you come to our area? Can you do it? And the biggest thing is just getting there. Like he and I said, my car. I have a Toyota Prius, even though I'm 6'7", but it's 5 years old with 390,000 miles on it. 390,000 plus. It's more than that, but yeah. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm home maybe 4 days a month because I'm trying to reach. I'm going to serve. If there's a need, I'm going to be there. If somebody else can't show up, we're going to show up. So I understand it's words are one thing, but actions mean everything. People, sometimes I've showed the places and one person shows up, but that one person needed it the most. They wanted it. They came out there. The mental side is half the battle. Once they show up and then they start playing and loving the sport, the physical stuff starts happening. They start moving. We've had people come out fully dressed like they're going to church, coming up to a clinic thinking, oh, it's just a social. Next you know, they're pulling up the pants and trying to play because, this is fun. So there's no limit to what we can do for this. And we are our brothers and sister keepers. So it all's going to come for this. Anybody else had something?
Well, I think our biggest challenge is where do we get the people from that are interested in becoming an official?
Talk to us. We got you.
And how do we get them and recruit them? That's really been our biggest challenge because we've had classes and trainings with 1 and 2 people, and like you said, we do it for them, and very appreciative. So we just our real thoughts are how do we get more people involved, and then the retention level of it. I mean,
Definitely.
retention in all sports officiating it's rough. Nobody wants to do it. So those are the 2 biggest challenges that we do face.
My secondary line of research is actually referees and referee retention and recruitment. And one of the big things that we found in our research was, yes, it looks like nobody wants to be a referee. Nobody wants to go and get yelled at and criticized. And, you see all these youth sport leagues and referees getting attacked. How can you ever recruit people into that? But it's the former athletes that are looking for something. And what we have found is to the retention, it's the community part. They want to belong to something, and promoting it as not here's this occupation where you can go and get yelled at, but here's this occupation to where you can band together in a service and meet other people, and it's really the community aspect that keeps the referees and gets people excited about it. It's a natural transition out of sport. Still want to be involved, but there's not a league or anything around. You can kind of have a team through refereeing. So there's a path there, but we've got to get the negative media images on everybody hating referees out of people's mind and kind of show them that community aspect a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's the big problem. Everything you see, it's always negative with the officials. There's nothing positive. It's got to be promoted that it's a positive experience too. The negativity is just really what hurts it too.
I know it's different in youth sports, but I have 60 to 70 part-time officials that we're hiring and retraining every single year. Luckily, almost half of them have been with me for over a year. We do adult sports, which is probably not as crazy as youth sports because you got the parents yelling at you, but adult sports are just as crazy when somebody gets mad about a kickball game, right? And so I think it really is on the organization running that event to make the change, because we hire and train every single one of our employees, and when someone acts a fool to our referees, we kick them out. They're gone. So it's got to come from an organizational level, top down, because you can't expect your officials to be the one to do that and take that step. And so again, I know it's difficult for youth because you're typically hired by a school or an organization who's in charge of that. But in my organization, we're hiring and training the people who are reffing our games we're putting on, and we kick people out all the time. And typically at the end of the day when you do that, everyone else is happy that you did that as well. And so it's really got to come from the top down organizational level to not allow parents and people to act like that. Again, that's a bigger change, but we've really figured out from our organization, and we're able to keep staff, and we have tons of staff. We have veterans. We have athletes are the best because they're constantly want to be in that environment. They want to be with other people. And so again, I think it's more of an organizational level top down mindset that's got to change to help our officials be able to see that there's a path in this, that they're not getting yelled at and hating their lives every day.
All right, let's flip it. What are some of your success stories that you've had then? Because like you mentioned, there's always negativity in everything that we do. And I've talked to them also. Marketing is everything. I think, especially in this day and age of social media, I think the way we make little clips and 30-second commercials of showing a positive influence, or like somebody is a ref in a game and smiling and feeling, those things combat a lot of that negativity that we see. When they see somebody, I have a love-hate relationship for marketing, like Wounded Warrior Project, how I know it's probably when you have to show somebody with missing body parts and stuff like that, but that gets the engagement, that gets people watching. But when you see somebody like an amputee, then they take off their uniform and you didn't know that this person was dealing with all these things, but they're here enjoying what they do. That impacts people, especially us, when you see that there's somebody like me continuing to do something, and they're out there, they're taking that risk to do. Put yourself out there. So the positive impacts and stories have just as much impact as the negative ones also. So what are some of the positive and success stories that you've had or you've seen? Anything?
I think just pickleball and the growth of pickleball, right? I don't know that it's been marketed, but it's word of mouth, and it's somebody coming up, introducing you to the sport, saying, hey, do you want to play this? And, the programs that you're running are just amazing for that. So I think a success story is how pickleball has grown, right? I mean, there's no commercials out there promoting the growth of pickleball and trying to actively get people to participate in pickleball. But I can guarantee you, everybody that is here, one person probably introduced them to the sport and word of mouth and things like that. So maybe not your traditional marketing, but...
Well, technically, there aren't any commercials, so to speak, but pickleball is on TV shows, it's in movies, they're putting it in there. They don't say anything, but they slide, and so in the back of your mind, you're seeing, like, what is that? So, yeah, that's a good thing. Somebody say something.
One of our success stories is, and we like just the fact that how they appreciate it once you get them trained, once you get them on a field, and just seeing their reaction and the smile on the face, and just knowing that you've done something really good for somebody, and the appreciation is it's wonderful, and it just to keep them going and gives them something to do, and they really seem to enjoy it. And the support that we get from just even outside military people, just the support of what we're doing and the fundraisers we do and stuff like that. So that's the real enjoyment of it.
Well, this isn't specific to military, but our successes, our model is we own the world's largest pickleball travel club. And our model is that it is free to join, and it will always be free to join. And the benefits for everyone who joins is that you get exclusive discounts on travel for pickleball. So on our website, you can go, and there's a search engine. You can search by resorts that have pickleball, and you get exclusive discounts by booking using our search engine, as well as a free pickleball travel magazine. So our success is that we've grown this community, and we want to continue to grow it so that we can have influence on the resorts so that they increase the quality of the experience. And as they do, as we grow, then we can grow and offer specialized programs for the military, other special groups to do, disabled vet group trips, things like that. So the successes are in the growth, the organic growth that we've had by giving back. So you grow by giving, and so we give the free membership, and it'll always be free. And then we'll grow, and then we'll be able to serve other communities. So in the long run, yeah, I'd love to have veterans trips to our certified resorts. So that's something we can work on together, I hope.
One of the things I feel real strongly about in And again, this is addressing veterans, but it's also, I sit on the Defense Health Board that advises the United States Secretary of Defense on health matters. There's only 12 of us on this Defense Health Board. And, one of the things we do as military members is we train hard. We want to hit our annual or twice annual Army physical fitness test or whatever the equivalent is in the other service branches. And then to my friend Andrew down here, we were talking earlier today about one of the big episodes in a person's life is that when they're no longer an active service member and they become a veteran. And so many people just sit on their rear end and don't do anything. And from a physical fitness perspective. And one of the things that I think would help pickleball, and I think pickleball would help veterans, is to really in the last few years of military service start shaping the ideology that there's going to be a major realignment of your thinking when you become a civilian. And when you become a civilian, you still need to be physically fit. You don't have to, do the same things you did when you were a military service member, but to really start shaping to lifetime fitness, lifelong mobility. And I think that it's a call to action for the military services, the VA, yes, but for really all of us to be inviting veterans, for example, into the fold to say, let me help you to stay physically fit and mobile for the reasons you mentioned about isolation, camaraderie. Those things don't end just because you leave military service.
Anybody else have anything else? Any questions for our humongous audience here? Y'all are just as important, no?
I think we're missing the boat somewhat because
Please state your name and who you are, please, for a second.
I'm Bill Rhodes. I'm a retired Coast Guard. After I retired, I went to work with the National Cemetery Administration and was a director at various national cemeteries across the country. You touched on it with the PTSD. Veterans don't talk to other people about what they've done in the military.
Can't. We sign contracts for that.
If they've been there and done that, they're not going to tell you that.
Exactly.
But if you get them in a group of veterans, the camaraderie goes up. They talk about what they've done. It's therapeutic. The shirt that I'm wearing is from the Veterans Golf Association. I play golf with the Veterans Golf Association. You get them out on the golf course. They don't look like golfers. They don't act like golfers. It's a blast. But I haven't heard anything about a Veterans Pickleball Association. It's a very social sport. It's a place where you can go out and play and have a good time. But they're not talking about the inner demons because they don't know who they're playing with. If there were a group of veterans that were playing pickleball together, I think it would bring out a lot of that therapeutic discussion.
100%. And that's part of what we do. We have a duper club and stuff like that. So all our vets, they come to our clinics. We're just everywhere. And like, so say for instance in Texas, we have San Antonio, Austin, and Houston. And we have different clinics going on there. And after the clinics, we do so many clinics, and the veterans like, we need more. So next thing you know, we started doing tournaments between the areas, the different cities. And the VA sometimes will help out, but other people, they'll drive because it grows. And like you said, people that won't talk to anybody else will come to this. Now, our clinics are not, let me teach you how to be a pro. Let's get you hit the ball. Let's work on it, because sometimes I can teach you a skill for 2 years straight and you still won't get it. Because you're a veteran, you won't come out there, you just want to hit balls. Sometimes you just want to hit balls. We keep it open for that. Like if I have 3 courts open, one's going for training, one I might have a ball machine, other one, go do what you need to do. Let you have that, because now you've built a friendship with your whole new pack. You got a whole new group of people that you come to and you talk about. And then we take you and we travel with you, bring you to another one. And just like you said, when they come together, it's people that have been quiet. Their family, I've got so many messages from family members that said, my dad or he doesn't talk. And ever since he's met y'all, he doesn't stop talking. And I'm like, I get it. Or the family's like, well, he doesn't tell us about none of our service. Nobody talks about your service. I get it. But when they come out with us, we don't stop talking because we were there. We get it. We understand it. And that opens all it up to. It looks like we have somebody else with something to say. This person is long-winded, so just sit down and bear with.
No, I just want to add on to a couple.
Who are you, sir?
I'm Stephen Harper, Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, retired, the Executive Director for Military Adaptive Court Sports. One thing that Gabe alluded to is our veterans always want something more and more and more and more. And I definitely would like to connect. We would like to connect with you on what's next, what's next, what's next, because we have a lot of veterans who've been with us for like 3 years. We've done tournaments regional. We had a tournament where we brought the veterans from D.C., New York, and Hampton, Virginia as a regional tournament. They loved it, but it's like we weren't built for that. We were built for what Gabe was saying, just a 6-week program, just like SeaWorld. Bring them in, patch them up, and send them on. They keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. So we can definitely work with you guys and ladies as far as what is the next thing. Because the biggest thing that veterans wants is, hey, I did something special. You know?
So thank you for sharing that. I do have a response to that. And I think with my business, I created this business 18 months ago in my own brain by myself. And what I'm learning is that our business, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, has to continually evolve according to the needs of our clients. And so I'm going to challenge you to think about a bigger perspective. The Veterans Golf Association, we should learn from this guy about what they're doing for not only disabled veterans, but for all veterans, so we can broaden what we do for all veterans and make it more inclusive than just training, to make it perhaps trips or outings. The thing that I love about pickleball, I'm not a competitive player. I don't play to beat someone. I play to have fun with other people. Because of the mental and physical benefits.
No one has more fun than me.
So if you think about it from that perspective, that it's not, for me, I'm not interested in tournaments. I'm just not. But I love playing pickleball with other people and having fun and laughing and talking a little trash and everything that comes with it. So maybe we look at your organization together, use this as a model to say, what are they doing and how can we replicate? How can we take learnings from them, replicate some of those wins that they have and their orientations, not who's winning the golf tournament. It's just getting out there and playing and having fun with each other. So I'd love to. I'm totally available to talk with you guys.
Thank you.
Just to add another perspective of that, with military personnel, they live, when they're in the military, they are in very close communities, right? You are on base with other people. It's easy to find like-minded individuals. When these veterans come back, that's where the challenge is, right? And I think, you were right on as far as sport can be that bridge to connect people to communities. And I think it's important that we do that at the local level, so it's there consistently, whether it's special divisions at pickleball clubs for veterans or something like that. But there's a way, especially with people introducing the sport of pickleball, there's a way that sport can be that bridge for re-entry.
Yeah, just piggybacking on that, brainstorming, I think that's what we're doing here. To take it on a local level, the National Guard has bases locally in every community. So I would think that would be an opportunity to bring the veterans back and to be able to go to them. I don't know. I'm just out there blue sky, but wouldn't that be cool if they opened up the National Guard bases for pickleball play for all veterans to be able to come back? Just a thought.
We've had that talk with multiple bases. So I travel a whole lot. Like they have some bases like MWRs, like some Navy bases and all that. They have. Well, let me go back. So DOD has done an okay job for transitioning injured, ill, and wounded service members. They have an event called the DOD Warrior Games that they put on like once every 2 years. But pickleball hasn't been a part of it yet. I've been talking to them between that and the Invictus Games. The Invictus Games is another level. That's where Prince Harry puts on this global event where all countries come back of their injured, ill, and wounded veterans. I participated in both of them. I represent Team USA on not the last one, but the year before that. So they're using sports as that medium to come together. That's there, but their side is, let's introduce you to sport. You're on your own, though. Get your own equipment, go figure it out, and that's the hard part. Because entry in sport is expensive. Training is expensive, but then there's like, oh, well, if you want to compete, competitively speaking, there's grants and stuff from the VA for certain sports. But but you got to get there. But that barrier from me coming out of service and having a whole scheduled for me every day, knowing where I got to be. Now I'm home, retired, or just out. Nobody's telling me I have to be here. Nobody's telling me where to go, what to do. So what now? That's how you slip into that slope, and then 3 days go by that. Now you're in a routine of not doing nothing and not going anywhere and not knowing what to do. But there's organizations out there like we try to partner. The partnerships is everything because that's the only way we can survive. Like from outside of pickleball, I wasn't going to talk about this stuff because this is pickleball, but outside, when I'm not teaching and playing pickleball, I'm a rescue scuba diver. I race sailboats across the country. I'm a sponsored golfer. All these different things for sports for life. Sports that help others to where I can connect and do all these things because I believe there's no limits. I have one of my sisters that's another Army vet. She's right now in Colorado, completely blind, but she's whitewater rafting down rivers and stuff. Crazy stuff that I don't do. That type of stuff, but it's possible. There's a need for all this is what we're doing, and there's a want and a desire for it. It's just going to take us, like you said earlier, doing it and providing the means to do it because once it's word of mouth is what travels between our veteran community. It's not the advertisement sale. We see it, but we're not going to believe it. It's not until somebody that looks like you and talks like you comes up and invites you, say, hey, come out, and that's when you show up. Please.
Hi. Oh, can you hear me?
If you're interested in trying your hand
Okay. Wait.
machinery,
Just wait.
please
Yeah.
come by the championship court.
Go ahead. Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly Mullinex. I'm marketing with Dr. Okay.
Come on by and see how useful they are to help you train. Melvin is on center court, i.e. court number 26, with a Simon X pickleball machine.
Okay. There. Hi, I'm Kelly Mullinex. I'm marketing with Optum. I manage his PR and TV segments and all of that, and he's great. But I think another challenge that you guys haven't brought up is we always get requests for comments about the injuries that pickleball and he's done some segments on that. But I think there's an opportunity there to talk about what you guys are all talking about. Like, yes, there's injuries as in any sport, and if older people or veterans with disabilities are, but what else is, so have you guys done any like positive media stories in your communities or, anything in that matter? Because I think that is a challenge. Because, I mean, you see that, like, pickleball is causing this injury, blah, 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 but it's not talking about what else it's doing.
Anybody want to respond to that first?
I think that's where the social and mental health benefits come into play, right? Because if we just focus on the physical, yeah, there is that other side of tore my rotator cuff, I blew out an Achilles or something like that. That's the negative side of it. But thinking more holistically about even if you do blow out an Achilles and can't physically participate in pickleball, hopefully there's still the social aspect. And what a great time to get in and be a referee then, right? So there's different transitions that, we have to start thinking more holistically about health, because if you just focus on the physical, sport may not be the best answer. So you've got to add in that social and mental benefits as well, and getting all the data on all of that.
The news especially, yeah, I see it all the time. I know exactly what you're talking about. And she gave you a nice, sweet answer and stuff. How I respond to that, usually, because we get people. There's different ways to respond to it. For one, like you say, if you tore your you get an Achilles injury, you break your leg or something. Life happens, and you can't play. I don't believe in can't. Can't doesn't work in my household. This young man right here that's sitting right there, he's fully able-bodied if you didn't know it. He can get up and walk right now. But he teaches and plays from a chair that he can connect and understand somebody else's perspective from playing in a chair. I tell people all the time, okay, your leg doesn't work, sit down and play. We're adaptive. That's what this sport is about. People come complaining, oh, my shoulder hurt, my hand hurts. My hand hurts, my shoulder hurts. Exactly. But you got another one. Use your other hand. Don't come up with that whole news, oh, people are tripping and falling or their eye injuries. Put some safety goggles on and come play. We're adaptive. We don't have that issues about getting hurt because we're already hurt. I tell you, don't think about we're going to adapt to you. If you can't be, we teach you how to play differently for you. Everybody ages out differently. You're going to change the way you play. That is, in our market, sometimes it's usually not something that you're not afraid of the injuries. We play murder ball or wheelchair rugby. If you've seen a group of veterans, disabled veterans, so if you didn't, I missed an arm. But I also have a spinal cord injury. I broke C2 to C7, 6 ribs on the right side, collarbone, scapula, both lungs collapsed and severely bruised. told me I wasn't gonna walk again, told me I wasn't gonna, but here I am. So the injuries, give me a good time. I promise you. And we'll fight through that. We'll pull it. And anybody else with other injuries. My snowflake story, from me doing the Invictus games or the Warrior games and stuff like that, everybody there is injured already. We come there, and before you go to some event like that, sometimes you feel like you're a little snowflake, that you're brittle and nobody understands you, you're hurt, and you can't be touched. But then you show up to an event like this where other snowflakes are there, and you realize, oh, you're a blizzard in a snowflake. And when you're a blizzard, blizzards make stuff happen. We come together, we use our individualness, and we're a force. So that's how we tell it.
I think the other alternative to getting people to be physically active is exercise, and there is no marketing in that, right? Like, it is boring and it hurts.
It's boring. Nobody's exercising.
It's boring and it hurts, right? And that's where the sport can come in. Maybe there may be more injuries, but you're also getting people addicted to it and getting, again, it's hard to get addicted to a treadmill. I mean, people do it, but the odds of getting addicted to, it hurts and it's boring. So I think that sport has the advantage there. There may be more injuries, but we can market sport a lot better, I think. Yeah.
Well, Kelly, I think you bring up a real pragmatic question, which is I'd even like to broaden the context and say, how do we look at fitness as, and you brought it up about older people, and I can relate to those kind of people that are 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It's a wonderful time to have a conversation with, because mostly people are plugged into some kind of caregiver at that point in time, and to say, okay, fine, my blood pressure is taken care of, I've got my mammogram done, but I need to take care of me from an overall fitness perspective, and I'm, whether it's pickleball or a boring treadmill or walking or whatever it happens to be, to really have that kind of conversation and to take, whatever X number of minutes it takes to say, help me think about my overall fitness. And if pickleball is that, then to say, okay, let's talk about how do you prepare, you're 80 years old, how do you prepare yourself to play pickleball? You just don't jump out there one day and say, I'm going to go be, an Olympic gold, is it an Olympic game yet? A gold medalist in pickleball, but to rather say, let's put it in the context of my overall fitness, especially now that I'm 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. So we have a man down here that's dealing with denial.
And that's another thing about pickleball before we wrap this up. I was saying is, we talk a lot about fitness and how important it is, because we know if you played, you've seen how fitness is. But before, I don't even talk to people about fitness. I don't tell you about it. I want you to come have fun. Once you start having fun, next the fitness comes in it, because you start playing around, you're running around, it's going to happen. Subconsciously, you don't even know that you're getting fit. You start sweating. Spend an hour with us. You're going to be like, wait, all I did was dink, and you're sweating. I was like, exactly. And you had fun doing it. So that way, you don't have to think about, I'm here working out, or I'm getting up to go work out. No, you're going out and go play. Play isn't, people don't say the word play anymore. You say play and you think kids. Adults got to play too. We need to play, because play is life. That's going to keep us having fun and keep the longevity of this life. With that being said, if anybody else has anything else, we've pushed our time. We did good.
That's a really good point about fitness and fun, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Exactly. And I, as a physician, of course, I always think about biologically and those things that are going on. Yeah. And thank you for pointing out the fact that it's okay to have fun. I appreciate that.
If you're not having fun, this is life. Life is for the living. We need to have fun. There's too much. See, turn the TV off. There's too much going on. We can have fun right here together. And I thank you all for your time. Thank you for your input. If anybody else has anything else, if not, my name is Gabriel George again. I'm the Pickleball Director for Military Adaptive Court Sports. You can find any information of us from our booth. We're at 35 today. Also, our website is militaryadaptivecourtsports.org. Social media, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We love seeing comments, messages. We love to come help out. If y'all want to help or do anything, please come talk to us, share information. Thank you for y'all for your service.